Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some major news to go over about the Nintendo Switch 2. It is apparently being delayed until 2025. A lot of sources are claiming there's a lot of stuff to break down about it today. We also have some new Pokemon information, some new Pokemon Day rumors. There's a lot of stuff to get into. So if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes. It really helps out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on anything we cover in today's video. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video, and I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, a dark day for Nintendo fans because there are now a lot of rumors circulating about the apparent postponement of the Nintendo Switch 2. The story initially broke from Andy Robinson, who said Nintendo's next console could now launch later than expected in early 2025, it's claimed, and then he goes on to say there was some industry chatter this week about a potential slip, which compelled me to cover this. No confirmation from me either way, but the suggestion is circulating, and it makes sense considering Switch's March launch success. So VGC previously reported late 2024 per sources. So as usually what happens following this kind of story, it seems the chatter is growing. Two sources told me today they believe the Switch 2 has internally been pushed to 2025, but not enough for me to confidently share in a written story. I suspect this one will run. And then here we go, Eurogamer also confirming about it. So let's take a look at the actual article, and as I say, there have been a few updates since the initial story broke, which we'll cover as well, but it starts off by saying Nintendo's next console could launch later than expected in early 2025, it's claimed. So originally we thought that the Nintendo Switch 2 was going to be launching this year around October, November time potentially. It was going to get announced in March, and then we were going to get the console later this year. It looks to be that the announcement is probably still going to be March, but we're not going to get the actual console until next March at the earliest in 2025. So that's according to Brazilian journalist Pedro Henrique. So this is the person that initially said it, but now, like I say, a lot of other kind of big sources are also jumping on this story. So who claims in a new OX video that he received the information from 5 separate sources. So again, I've never heard of this person. I don't know what their track record is like, but they've apparently heard from 5 different sources that the Nintendo Switch 2 is being postponed and it is being pushed back to early 2025. And that's, of course, not now including all the other sources that have also jumped onto this. So according to the sources, they are also working on games targeting Q1 2025 to launch alongside the console itself, which has internally slipped out of a previous 2024 target. Eurogamer reports it's heard similar whispers from industry sources this week, though has not been able to concretely substantiate them. Previously, VGC reported that Nintendo was targeting a launch for its next console in late 2024 per development sources. This was later supported by other outlets. Like I said, there's been updates as well, but we'll go over the original story first. 2 development sources VGC spoke to on Friday indicated that they were working on Switch 2 games planned for release early next year, but could not confirm it that meant a later date than expected launch for the console itself. Although the company is yet to comment publicly, Nintendo Switch successor was widely expected to launch this year. It is in its latest earnings meeting earlier this month, Nintendo president Furukawa again declined to comment on plans for its next generation console. The exec instead insisted that the Nintendo Switch iteration will be Nintendo's main business heading into 2024. The company's plan for the next fiscal year will be shared at its next earnings brief in May, he said. Nintendo's next fiscal year will run until April 2025, so could include a console launch even if it's been delayed until calendar 2025. And then the CEO of Tokyo-based game industry consultancy Kantan Games recently predicted that the Nintendo Switch console could launch at $400, $100 higher than the Switch's launch price, and there is a chance its games could adopt the $70 pricing as well. So now let's go over the updates. So that's the original story that broke, and then we had a first update a few hours after this story broke, saying since publishing this story, VGC has heard from multiple sources who said Nintendo has told publishers its next console will now launch in Q1 2025. And then according to the sources, third-party game companies were recently briefed on an internal delay in Nintendo's next-gen launch timing from late 2024 to early the following year. One publishing source suggested the delay was so that Nintendo could prepare stronger first-party software for the console, which I'm assuming would be like an open-world Mario game, probably Mario Kart, something like that. It's possible the next-gen Nintendo console will now follow a similar timeline to the Switch, which was released in March but announced the previous year. VGC has asked Nintendo to comment on the story. And then a couple of hours later, we had another update saying Eurogamer has now corroborated that the Switch 2 is set for a Q1 2025 release. The console's launch moving into early next year, but still within the coming financial year, is designed to ensure the Switch 2's launch lineup features as many titles as possible, Eurogamer understands, it said. And then a third update, and again, I'm recording this on the Saturday, there might be more updates throughout the weekend, but obviously if this video goes up and there's more updates, like, we'll cover them eventually, but these are like the main ones right now. We have Bloomberg now corroborating the news as well. Nintendo Co. is advising game publishers that its next generation console will be delayed until the early months of 2025, according to people with knowledge of the matter, it said. Nintendo has told some publishing executives not to expect the console until March 2025 at the earliest. A Nintendo spokesperson said the company has nothing to comment on. So it looks like they're doing this because they want more like big games to kind of come out with the Nintendo Switch 2, which I completely understand, especially because like there's now information that PS5 is not going to have like any exclusives like this year. Obviously Xbox is all over the place, so if Nintendo kind of delay this console, which they can because it's not like they've even announced it yet, you know, they've said nothing about it, so that's just like the other sources saying it's coming out this year, but Nintendo themselves have said nothing. So if they get like a massive launch with like some huge titles, it's going to absolutely do numbers. So it is very smart from their point of view, especially with like Sony and Microsoft not doing very well at the moment. But obviously it sucks as a Nintendo fan. Like, it should still be announced next month, but we just have to wait a lot longer now. So it's probably going to get announced next month. And it's not even guaranteed to come out next March either. It says at the earliest it's going to be next March. So it could be like next June. I don't know. It just kind of, it just deflates the situation because we've been waiting for this for so long. And, you know, we didn't even get a Nintendo Direct or anything like that. So if they have pushed it back, I have no idea what's going on. We do also have My Nintendo News tweeting about this as well, saying, analyst, Nintendo is likely looking at a pretty dry pipeline this year after reports of Switch 2 Q1 2025 delay. So again, a little bit of information about this. So Bloomberg is also reporting that it has heard sources that Nintendo has delayed the launch of the Switch 2 system until Q1 2025 to enable it to have a solid lineup of games. The news publication has also chatted with Tokyo-based analyst Serkan Toto, who believes that the move will be a blow to Nintendo, which he says is looking at a pretty dry pipeline this year. This is because Nintendo is creating its big titles for the successor to the Nintendo Switch system. So Nintendo is likely looking at a pretty dry pipeline this year, Toto said. The company will still try to keep the blockbusters for the next console, so 2024 might see more remakes of old Nintendo hits. In any case, 2024 will be a lot tougher for Nintendo without a new device. So yeah, what they're saying here is, you know, because all of these big kind of games are going to be revealed for the Nintendo Switch 2, the Nintendo Switch this year is going to be very dry, which means that they might start doing like more remakes and stuff like that, which we have had. Obviously, they've just done Mario and Donkey Kong. I think there's a few more as well that are coming out. But at the same time, like, that could also be a good thing, because a lot of people really, really like remakes, and I think if they do like, let's say, Wind Waker, and, you know, games like that, which have been in the pipeline for a very long time, people would be very happy with that. There's all the Pokemon games as well, like, they could easily bring all of the old, you know, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 games to the Nintendo Switch. They're supposed to be doing that for a while. That would be huge. Obviously, we're getting a new Pokemon game this year as well, you'd like to think, so that'll be huge for the Switch. That'll be, like, one of the main things that the Switch is kind of relying on this year. They're really relying on Pokemon, because if they're literally saving all the big games until the Nintendo Switch 2, like, they're putting a lot of pressure on the Pokemon game this year to do well, so it doesn't absolutely, like, ruin the Nintendo Switch numbers. So maybe it is actually going to be a big year for Pokemon, just to hopefully, obviously, keep the Nintendo Switch alive. And then the Switch 2 comes out next year, and then they can obviously drop all the other games and stuff. But it wouldn't be the craziest thing to be, like, only getting remakes this year. I wouldn't be massively against it, because there's a lot of games that people want to see remade. And this is the perfect time to do it. Like, the Nintendo Switch is obviously on its last year now, so just bring with it like loads of remakes that you can also bring over to the Switch 2 as well. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but obviously it's not the greatest news either. So that's all the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff that I wanted to go over. We have a few other bits and bobs to go to take a look at as well. So this one's very, very interesting. So we have Celebi here tweeting out saying, Celebi update, Pokemon Unite is to add Shiny Rayquaza as an opponent in the Thea Sky Ruin stage from February the 22nd through to March the 7th. So why is this interesting? Well, obviously, Pokemon Day is between this time. You know, it's on February the 27th. It's between the 22nd and the 7th of March. So that's obviously very common knowledge. We know about that. The other interesting thing is that we now know that Pokemon or Game Freak is obviously lighting up the Empire State Building in regards to the Pokemon Horizons anime, and you know there's going to be like a special Pokemon Go event with Captain Pikachu and stuff like that. But the fact that they're also doing a Shiny Rayquaza event in Pokemon Unite, I'm kind of now a bit more convinced that they're probably going to do a Shiny Rayquaza event in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as like a raid battle event. You know, I think that's going to be the 7-star raid. Whether it's shiny or not, I'm not sure. But obviously, Shiny Rayquaza, if you haven't seen the anime, it's a massive part of the Pokemon Horizons anime. And if they're bringing it to Pokemon Unite, they're doing a Pokemon anime theme for the Empire State Building. Why wouldn't they also do a Rayquaza raid event for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? And also, if they make it a Shiny Rayquaza that is catchable, everybody's going to flock over to Scarlet and Violet again to do this raid. So I would be very much happy about that. We also have had Riddler in the past say that we are getting legendary, more legendary 7-star raids. So yeah, I'm a little bit excited about this information. I know it's obviously just about Pokemon Unite, but yeah, it makes the idea that we potentially could be getting something for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's 7-star raids as well. So very, very excited about that. We'll see what happens on that front. Another bit of information to go over about mobile games is that the Rotom event is now live. So Celebi tweeted out this for Pokemon Go, saying the code to redeem for the Pokemon Go Rotom Special Research completion has been revealed. The code is 0HY0UF0UNDM3. So obviously, oh, you found me. And yeah, you have to catch, I think, 30 Sinnoh Pokemon or something like that. And then obviously, yeah, you get the Rotom encounter and stuff like that. So that is now live. You can now redeem that in Pokemon Go, which I'm very happy about because I don't have a Rotom yet in Pokemon Go. But anyway, finishing things off, we do have a new Pokemon Day rumor to take a look at, as always, with these videos, just to finish them off with. This was posted on the 29th of January, so a bit of time ago now, and it's titled Pokemon Presents. And they, again, always take them with a grain of salt. This is a 4chan rumor, so most of the time it does turn out to be fake, but you never know. But it does start off by saying Miraidon will be available in Pokemon Unite after the presents. So again, nothing crazy there. We do know that Miraidon is coming to Pokemon Unite. It's been data mined. We know its attacks. We know what kind of attacking Pokemon it is. We've seen gameplay of it. It is definitely coming to Pokemon Unite. We don't know the release date of it, but it's most likely going to be happening after the presents, or very, very close to the presents. As well as that, Phalanx and Ceruledge are also coming to the MOBA. We just also don't know when they're dropping either. And then after that, Pokemon Masters EX new sync pairs. So we have Arenzu and Hisuian Lilligan, Lian and Cleavor, and Volo and Giratina. So a lot of kind of Legends Arceus pandering there, which, again, if this turns out to be true, could be because we're getting a new Legends game or something like that. But a lot of Legends Pokemon are coming to the Pokemon Masters EX game, apparently. And then says Lugia event coming to Cafe Remix. Again, I think if we get anything for Cafe Mix, which we're probably going to, I think it'd be something to do with Terrapagos or Rogapon. I don't really see Lugia in Cafe Mix. It's full of like cutesy Pokemon and stuff like that. I mean, Lugia probably doesn't fit the criteria for a Cafe Mix, but I don't play it, so I'm not actually too sure. But I can't really see Lugia in that kind of art style and stuff like that. But anyway, apparently that's happening. We also have Pokemon Go Koraidon and Miraidon raid event in spring. Again, they've also been data mined to be in the games. We just don't know when they're going to get released. Again, other Pokemon have also been data mined to be in Pokemon Go. There's a lot of Ultra Beasts as well, other Gen 9 Pokemon. But obviously, Koraidon and Miraidon, a raid event would be really, really cool. A lot of people are worried that they're going to make Koraidon and Miraidon only shiny in Pokemon Go, and you can only get it that way. They could do that, which would suck, but I still think we're going to get a shiny Koraidon and Miraidon event like through a code distribution at some point this year. Then it says shiny Eevee Terra Raid battle event, which will start February the 27th to March the 5th. So obviously we did have an Eevee Raid event like in November when Pokemon Scarlet originally dropped, and that's because it's around Eevee Day. I think that would make more sense to do a shiny Eevee Terra Raid in November, because, like I say, that's around when Eevee Day is. February doesn't really make sense. And then they go on to say, new Pokemon movie that premieres a Ice Fire Small Moose-like Pokemon that blows snot bubbles out of its nose. So, an Ice Fire type would be really cool. I'm still kind of baffled that we don't have one already. But yeah, I mean, again, we're most likely going to be getting a new movie this year. It's probably going to have a new mythical. Riddler has already spoken about it, so yeah, fingers crossed for that. And then it says Pokemon Remote is a new streaming service that allows you to watch all the Pokemon anime series movies throughout the years with monthly and yearly subscription fees, able to download episodes and movies for offline viewing. So this is something that very well could be in the pipeline for Pokemon. They've obviously cancelled Pokemon TV. They're obviously looking for new streaming services. Like they put up like new job listings for like streaming people and whatnot. So there's a lot of kind of talk about a potential Nintendo streaming service or a Pokemon streaming service, so it very well could happen. But at the same time, how much is that also going to be? Like, I wouldn't mind paying, like, you know, Crunchyroll prices or something for this. Like, I don't really want to play like Netflix prices because it just all gets expensive, but Crunchyroll is kind of cheap, so if it was something similar to that, then that would be very good. And it'd just be nice to have a hub with like all Pokemon movies and series and animes and everything like that just in one place. It just makes it super convenient. And then they say Pokemon Pinball Scarlet and Violet. So we haven't had a Pokemon Pinball for a very long time. Was the last one, I think, Ruby and Sapphire. I think there was a scrapped one for Diamond and Pearl. But either way, apparently they're bringing it back for Scarlet and Violet, and it says slow, normal, fast, and turbo ball speed, local and online multiplayer 1v1, online leaderboards, April the 11th release date. So yeah, I mean, I've played Pokemon Pinball. I've not really been a massive fan of it. I've not gone out of my way to play it much, but you know, it could happen as like a little mini spin-off game. I think Pokemon Pinball more so fits the criteria of a mobile game now, though. I don't think they could really produce Pokemon Pinball for the Switch and expect a lot of people to buy it, when at its core it's not really anything. You know, it's very much a mobile game. And then they say Pokemon Legends Celebi. So the starter Pokemon are Charmander, Snivy, and Froakie. Which, you know, that is a very good that's actually a solid selection for starters. That's probably my ideal selection, because I love Charizard. Snivy's my favorite Gen 5 starter, and then Greninja as well, which means all these would be getting forms. I know people wouldn't be too happy about Charizard getting another form, but with the Legends Pokemon, that is probably going to be the case. But yeah, Charmander, Snivy, and Froakie would be an awesome selection. I would really, really like to see those. And then Legends Celebi, that, you know, if we get a Legends game this year, I want it to be Legends Celebi as well. So in my opinion, that'd be perfect. If I saw that announced with those starters, I would be super, super happy. Again, I'm probably going to be happy about whatever gets announced this year, unless it is absolutely just abysmal. But that is right on my street. And then it says Wild Pokemon Stampedes. So I'm guessing that is a new, like, shiny hunting mechanic or something, just how we got, like, outbreaks and all that. And then it says Celebi has dialogue and seems to appear throughout the game. So I'm assuming that would be similar to the way that Calyrex has dialogue in the Crown Tundra DLC, where he kind of talks through, what's his face? Can't remember his name. Begins with a P or whatever. But yeah, he kind of talks through him, and then that's how he has like dialogue and stuff. And then it says November the 21st release date. So yeah, I mean the 21st is, I mean it has to be like a Friday really, for it to kind of make sense. So yeah, the 21st is a Thursday. I mean, the games always get released on a Friday, at least recently. It's just obviously people play it on Thursday because of time differences and stuff like that. But all in all, I mean, the rumor's not terrible. There's a lot of things that I could see happening. There's a lot of things that I can't see happening. But either way, I don't think this one's that true, to be fair. But that is going to be everything for today's video. Like I say, there's a lot of information to go over today. A lot of cool information, a lot of bad information. But obviously, there's a lot of talking points as well. What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 potentially? The word there being potentially being delayed. There are about 15 different sources claiming that this is being delayed, so it's not looking likely that it's going to get revealed. It's not going to drop this year. Again, the reveal is still probably going to be next month, but the actual drop of this console probably not going to be this year. So what are your thoughts on that? Are you happy about it? It's one of those, like, you know, people complain about Pokemon games being unfinished, but then people would complain about us not getting a Pokemon game. It's similar to that, like, you know, we'd complain that it's not out yet, but then we would also complain if it came out with, like, no good games. So they're delaying it because they want better games for it. So it's one of those, like, I understand why they're doing it. As long as we get, like, okay stuff this year, it's not that bad waiting, like, another year for it. You know, if we got, like, a really good Pokemon game this year, if we got really good remakes like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, stuff like that, all these games getting remastered, new content and stuff, then that would be fine. It's just if we got absolutely nothing this year and it got delayed, that would be a problem. But I'm assuming it's just kind of new information to them that it is being delayed. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on all that. Let me know your thoughts on the Pokemon Unite stuff as well. Do you think this could be a shiny Rayquaza raid for Scarlet and Violet? Make sure to redeem the Pokemon Go code for Rotom. And then also, what are your thoughts on this rumor as well? But that's everything from me. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And until next time, peace.